Son to serve. I am the Father. I am giving you everything. Why don't you serve me by printing these books? If one book only is read and understood, that is sufficient to make him Krishna conscious. Don't you see how important it is? They are always asking me, is such and such book bona fide? They can't even take the time to read one of my books, and still they ask for one of my brother's books. How will things go on? First canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is not even edited or corrected. What to speak of printed? So many books unprinted. So tell them, from the book fund, not a farthing should be for eating. One day Advaita, the manager of ISKCON Press, called from New York with some good news. In a week they would be sending Dai Nippon the negatives for 5 big books. ISKCON Press had also sent a shipment of the German Ishopanishad to Europe, and other foreign language books were forthcoming. Prabhupada was pleased, and Shyamasundara informed his GBC godbrothers. Needless to say, this was just the medicine required to treat Prabhupada's slackening faith in us. Things are looking up, but still Prabhupada encourages us all to write up these reports and get clear all-around picture of the total book situation. Although Prabhupada's health was still weak, he felt heartened to hear that his books were being printed, and he continued with his translation and commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam. Rancha. One night I was up very late, 1 o'clock in the morning. As I came in, I saw that Prabhupada's lights were on in his front room, and I could hear his voice speaking into the dictating machine. I came up the stairs, being as quiet as I possibly could, so Prabhupada wouldn't know that I was up so late. But as I passed his door, I couldn't resist the temptation to just stop and listen for a while. I tried looking through the keyhole, but I couldn't see anything, so I just listened to Prabhupada's voice as he was dictating Srimad Bhagavatam. Then all of a sudden he stopped. I supposed he was just thinking about what he was going to say next. But then I got the feeling that he knew I was out there, listening through the door. I became frightened and went up the stairs as quietly as I could. Although the stairs creaked, everyone was asleep, not only the temple, but practically the whole city of London, at 1 o'clock in the morning. But Prabhupada was awake and translating. He had been speaking quietly, but with a voice of great strength and determination. All during the day he was under pressure to organize things and see people, and yet at night, the one time when he could have some peace and quiet, he was up dictating. In London, Prabhupada began a book on Western philosophers, beginning with Socrates. Every morning, Shyamasundara would present a synopsis of a major philosophy to Prabhupada, and for several hours, Prabhupada would discuss the philosopher's major points from the light of Krishna consciousness. Daily, Shyamasundara was busy transcribing morning discussions and preparing the next philosopher. Prabhupada, I'll finish there. Om Jnana Timarandasya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 15, texts 14 to 15, followed by text 16. Gayad Gayantam Chiratra Sugatia Avarodana Iti Traya Putra Babuvus Chitratad Unayam Samrad Ajanista, Tata Utkalayam, Mariche Bindu Matyam, Bindum Anudapada Yata, Tasmat, Saragavayam, Madhu Namabavan, Madon Sumanasi, Viravratas, Tato Bojayam, Mantu Pramantu, Janyate, Manto, Satyayam, Bhavanastato, Dushanayam, Twataya Janista, Twashtu, Virochanayam, Viradro, Virajasya, Shatadjit, Pravaram, Putra Shatam, Kanya, Chavishucham, Kila Jatam. Does anyone else want to read this one?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, I am just reading that one. Gayad Gayantam Chitrarataha Sugatir Avarodhan Iti Traya Putra Babubush Chitrarathad Purnayam Shamrad Ajanishta Tat Utkalayam Morichir Bindumottam Bindum Anutpaddat Tashmat Sharabhayam Madhur Nama Bhavan Madho Sumanoshi Virabratas Tato Bhojayam Manthu Pramanthu Jagyate Manthu Satyayam Bhuvanastato Dushonayam Tashtajanishta Tushtur Virochanayam Virajasya Satajit Pravaram Putra Satam Kanyacha Vishuchyam Kilo Jatam. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Anyone else like to read?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Please continue, Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you. Gayate Gayantayam Chitraratha Sugatir Avarodhana Iti Traya Putra Babhus Chitrarathat Urnayam Samarat Ajanishta Tat Utkalayam Marichir Vindu Matyam Vindum Anud Padyat Tasmat Sargayam Madhur Nama Bhavan Madho Sumanasi Viratase Tato Bhojayam Manthu Pramanthu Jagyate Mantho Satyam Bahuvanastato Dushnayam Tvashtajanishta Tvastura Virochanayam Virajasya Sataji Pravaram Putra Satam Kanya Chavishuchayam Kil Jatam. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Word for word, Gayat from Maharaja Gaya, Gayantam and his wife named Gayanti, Chitrarata named Chitrarata, Sugati named Sugati, Avarodhana named Avarodhana, Iti thus, Traya 3, Putra sons, Babuvuhu were born, Chitraratat from Chitrarata, Urnayam in the womb of Urna, Samrat named Samrat, Ajanista was born, Tata from him, Utkalayam and his wife named Utkala, Marichi named Marichi, Marichi from Marichi, Bindu Matyam in the womb of his wife Bindu Mati, Bindum, a son named Bindu, Anudapadhyata was born, Tasmat from him, Saragayam, in the womb of his wife Saraga, Madhu, Nama named, Abhavat was born, Madho from Madhu, Sumanasi, in the womb of his wife Sumana, Viravrata, a son named Viravrata, Tataha from Viravrata, Bojayam, in the womb of his wife Bojaha, Mantu Pramantu, the sons named Mantu and Pramantu, Janyate were born, Mantoho from Mantu, Satyayam and his wife Satya Bhavana, a son named Bhavana, Tataha from him, Dushanayam, in the womb of his wife Dushana, Twasta, one son named Twasta, Ajanista was born, Twashtu from Twasta, Virochanayam, and his wife named Virochana, Virajaha, a son named Viraja, Virajashya, of King Viraja, Shatajit Pravaram, headed by Shatajit, Putra Shatam, 100 sons, Kanya, a daughter, Cha also, Vishuchayam, in his wife Vishuchi, Kila indeed, Jatam took birth. In the womb of, translation by Srila Prabhupada. In the womb of Gayanti, Maharaja Gaya begot 3 sons named Chitrarata, Sugati, and Avaradana. In the womb of his wife Urna, Chitrarata begot a son named Samrat. The wife of Samrat was Utkala, and in her womb Samrat begot a son named Marichi. In the womb of his wife Bindumati, Marichi begot a son named Bindu. In the womb of his wife Saraga, Bindu got a son named Madhu. In the womb of his wife named Sumana, Madhu begot a son named Virarata. In the womb of his wife Boja, Virarata begot 2 sons named Mantu and Pramantu. In the womb of his wife Satya, Mantu begot a son named Bhavana. And in the womb of his wife Dushana, Bhavana begot a son named Twasta. In the womb of his wife Virachana, Twasta begot a son named Viraja. The wife of Viraja was Vishuchi, and in her womb Viraja begot 100 sons and 1 daughter. Of all these sons, the son named Shatajit was prominent. I'll go straight on to 6:16 now. Tatrayam shloka praya vratam vamsham imam virajas charamod bhava akaroratyalam kitya vishnu suraganam yata. Word for word. Tatra, in that connection, ayam shloka, there is a famous verse, Prayavratam, coming from King Priyavrata, Vamsham, the dynasty, Imam, this, Viraja, King Viraja, Charama Udbhava, the source of 100 sons, headed by Shatajit, Akarot, decorated, Ati Alam, very greatly, Kirtya, by his reputation, Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Suraganam, the demigods, Yata, just as. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. There is a famous verse about King Viraja. Because of his high qualities and wide fame, King Viraja became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrata, just as Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, decorates and blesses the demigods. Purport. Within a garden, a flowering tree attains a good reputation because of its fragrant flowers. Similarly, if there is a famous man in the family, he is compared to a flower in a forest. Because of him, an entire family can be famous in history. Because Lord Krishna took birth in the Yadu dynasty and the Yadavas have remained famous for all time. Because of King Viraja's appearance, the family of Maharaja Priyavrata has remained famous for all time. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Ulmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances to such a spiritual master. Reading again the translation of text 16. There is a famous verse about King Viraja. Because of his high qualities and fame, King Viraja became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrata, just as Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, decorates and blesses the demigods. Hare Krishna. So, discussing both those verses, I'll start with text 14 and 15, which doesn't have a purport, but still it's in the Bhagavatam, so it has an importance, although, yeah, despite Prabhupada not mentioning what it is. I was listening to a talk by another Maharaj, and he discussed how the the question was why would the families, the hereditary lines be mentioned like this in that verse, in the womb of whose son who begot a son and married and begot, so forth. And because actually family, friends and love is what bind us in this material world. And so we're wanting spiritual perfection. Why do we want to be bound by those family, friend connections? And why does King Parikshit need to know this? Why is Shukadeva Goswami telling him this when he's on the verge of death and wanting to gain spiritual enlightenment? There's still a reason, and that reason that actually, although the goal is the spirituality and to become detached from the family ties, this Shukadeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam not just for Parikshit, but actually for all of humanity to learn from. And because we're not all on that same platform, ready for immediately for spiritual transformation, moving into the spiritual platform, we do have our physical material ties and consciousness. And so actually by giving the history, does give the neophytes a validity, a proof that it was real and happens, because we relate to history, so and so we go do our connections to give proof and know that things really happened and are so really that's what this is more about, is giving that to all people the basis, like the Bible discusses, who descended from Abraham, gives all the births up to Christ Jesus. And again, it's that showing that there is a real descendants. And so that's one reason why this is in there. And then moving on to text 16. There's this example, the flower, of the flowering tree in a garden, giving with fragrant flowers, giving the whole garden its reputation, good reputation. And there's that same goes other way around. If you are familiar with the ginkgo tree, if you've ever walked by a ginkgo tree, the smell is pretty bad, and you just want to leave it right away. So again, a tree with the bad smell can pollute, and a tree with the good smell attracts, and all the bees come to the nice smelling trees, swarming there. Krishna was surrounded by bees and the beautiful fragrance. So the beautiful fragrance is attractive and affects the whole area. And same with a person, a family, can affect the whole family's reputation. A good one like Krishna and the Yadav family, Yadavas, he made the Yadavas famous for his goodness, Krishna, the ultimate personality of Godhead. And so the Yadavas are famous because of Krishna being in that family. Ravana in Lanka was so demonic, and that he tainted that family line, that dynasty, with a bad reputation. In more recent times, Hitler is an example of when people think of Germany, often what comes to mind is Hitler and the harm of that world war, ahead of Mercedes-Benz, all the good things that Germany has brought about, but that tainting of what Hitler did has tainted the reputation of that country. And in this, we have the last few verses, we're talking about Gaia, and as a great king, the sacrifices he offered that even attracted the demigods and Vishnu, and he taught, it educated the people. So he taught the love of God, and also the principles, good character, and he gave charity. When people were in need, he was giving, and so people were happy. And that point of education being making the difference. So there's punishment when people are doing wrong and can be punished, but when everyone is treated well and educated properly, and in character and good standards and morals, then actually the harmful ways are diminished. If everyone is good, there's no need for punishment because no one is bad. And that was so in Gaia's time. Sadly, it's not that way in Kali Yuga, where the time of quarrel, and despite education, people still can go awry, and association becomes a very big part of who we're associating with. Might start have a good family, good upbringing, but get with the wrong crowd can lead you awry. There's an example of a young boy from a good family who ended up getting in the wrong crowd, getting into drugs, trying drugs, getting attached, addicted, and turning to crime, to sell the drugs to make money to keep going. But in that process, this good boy with the bad association ends up getting into trouble and then being killed by the druggies. And so you can see this boy from a good family had the wrong association, went down the wrong path, and ended ended badly, despite his parents being good devotees. So association is so important. That's talked about so much in Krishna consciousness, that we must associate with devotees and build on the good reputation, the good qualities of those around us. We tend to mimic and do the same as others around us. So again, choose who you're with, and make sure they are people of good character and those in Krishna consciousness that keep that standard. And also the reputation of the spiritual master is on the line when we become initiated. Then we are following and our spiritual master, and how we behave affects the spiritual master and how others see us. So important to follow the regulatory principles, be of good character, and because we hold a standard that others look to. As soon as people start doing things wrong, others look and point, and we know the media's very quick to point on all the bad things that people does. It's rife. Politics say something, and then that's media pounces on it and blows it up, and so there is this tendency in Kali Yuga to follow the negative. So we need to really guard carefully against that and do right, do good, to maintain the reputation of our spiritual master, of this parampara and Krishna consciousness is gone. It's up to every individual. We have our duty, our role in that, to maintain that good reputation. So yes, King Viraja's appearance made the family of Maharaja Priyavrata famous, and we hope that our good actions, our good character will prevail, and that we can be part of making this world better, make our families better, make ISKCON better, and support our spiritual master in the mission of bringing Krishna consciousness to everyone in a positive way. So we want to attract the good. And I know for myself, when having only come in the last few years to Krishna consciousness, when I say to people that I'm Krishna conscious, sometimes get comments like, "Oh, the happy, the happies," or "Oh yes, I remember the singing down the streets of Queen Street," or positive. These experiences, it's good to hear those. Or I ate in that Hare Krishna restaurant, or oh yes, that's really good food. All these positive comments, that's what we want to keep growing as well. Of course, we do get negative things as well, but more we can grow the positive and be respectful. I mean, there's a great responsibility when you're out distributing books or doing Sankirtan to treat people with respect. And if someone gets angry, don't get angry back, but actually hold a good positivity. Don't get dragged into their negativity. Do your best to stay positive and make people feel better than they are. That's our duty, to be of good character and encourage people in God consciousness, whatever that is, whether it's Christianity, Hare Krishna, Muslim, that God consciousness, love of God is the most important, that we are working out of that and encouraging that in others, on our journey towards the divine and Krishna consciousness, spiritual life. So, Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much for explaining the verse very nicely, particularly about the glories of King Goya. And he was a king, he was advised by the Brahmanas, and he was able to do the things rightly for his citizens, and particularly about their, he looked after both their material and spiritual life together. So that is one of the duties of a king. But unlike in the present age, in the Kali Yuga, of course, there is very little kings are now left out, and also most of the people elected as the head of the state, they are ignorant about the Lord Himself, and so they cannot preach God consciousness. So that is the result of the present day. And but in these circumstances, if we read the life of Goya, how he has done it for his citizens, and we can know what was the ideal situation and where we are now. And if we individually try to become Krishna conscious, maybe the reverse way we can reach. And when we do that, when the whole the citizens becomes aware of the Lord, maybe the kings, the head of the state, may also turn to be God conscious. So that is what Prabhupada desired, and that is our effort or endeavor in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Thank you very much to identify and clarify the family tree of King Gaya, who was named as Mahapurush by his qualities stated in 6 and 7 texts. So all his kingdom, the citizens were so enlightened by his ruling capacity, right from his character, building of spiritual enlightenment, and the fulfilling the necessities of the kingdom uh, and his uh, all prajas. So this family is the lastly one is King Braja, Biraja is none other the family tree from Gaya. So we can see from the family tree a good seed always makes a good plant. So this characteristics of King Gaya, which is named as Mahapurush, gives a good king ultimately. So by this family tree teaches us always a good seed produce a good tree. Like Krishna was the representative of Yadu dynasty. He brought up the Yadu dynasty to the forefront so that people can understand the dynasty history and keep and understanding the powerful activities of a good king. As we can see, this king was the part and parcel of the Lord himself. That's why he was called Mahapurushika. He got all the activities, all the character assigned by the Lord himself. That's why the last part of Priyavrata dynasty was King Braja, Piraja, and he continued that dynasty as it is. That's why Prabhupada always insisted us to this ISKCON family so that good Brahmanas come in front and make the ISKCON movement a forefront so people can understand the importance why ISKCON is so important in our life. The teachings of ISKCON and teachings of Srila Prabhupada will enliven the whole world to a movement that keep us our character build up, our way of life that attracts the whole universe. And that is what is the most important part of ISKCON movement? To build up a good society, a characterized society that people will remember forever. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for your reflections. Anyone else like to add? Srimad Grantaraj.
Jai.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha
Kripasinduvyascha
pavanebhyo
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय हर ग्रेस हैना माता जी की जय
जय Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur
और प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल
All glories to the
assembled
single
devotees.
devotee.
हरे